Hey guys, welcome back to the Golf Podcast. We've got yet another PGA Tour player on the podcast here in a minute. We've got Troy Merritt, a two-time PGA Tour winner. Last week we had Russell Henley. We got 5 PGA Tour wins in two weeks. Not cool. Not bad. But this is always fun. Every once in a while we like to check in with the guys on tour, pick their brain a little bit. And why I really am interested to dive into this episode with Troy is that he was one of the first players on tour to make a very rapid switch to the new Titleist irons. Last week when we had Russell on, he was still kind of resting and he was going to be testing them. But remarkably, after just one range session, Troy made a huge switch in the bag. And
That's all it took, huh?
Yeah, and then Mike, you know what we got to talk to him about? That ace.
Got to talk about that 212-yard hole-in-one he had?
Yeah.
I think it was about 212 yards.
As soon as he made the switch, 5-iron. So, I mean, talk about validation. I mean, to me, that sounds like it's validation
right
of the new equipment. We're going to have to see what he says. So excited to bring him on in a second. Also, this week, we're recording this a couple of weeks in advance, but the week that this episode drops will also be the kickoff to our new Jersey Shore Tour series on YouTube, Facebook Watch, and in the Golficity app. This is something that you and I, we had a lot of fun putting this one together.
Great fun, man. Took the families away, Jersey Shore, went for a week. We played, 5 rounds over 6 days. Fun collaboration with Josh Kelly, hole-in-one trick shots. We played some cool formats like alt shot, best ball. Man, we just did it all in a week. It was fun.
We could have been there so much longer.
We could have been there,
we scratched the surface.
We absolutely did, guys. And just keep a lookout because one of us fell victim to losing a hole and having to get a tattoo. You're going to have to wait and see which one it was.
Let's just say we had some fun with this series. But, all kidding aside, there's so much great golf in that area. Central Jersey there.
We could have did so much more.
They're just and what I think we both really enjoyed was the diversity of the golf there. You had so much different types of golf styles that you could play, and like I said, scratching the surface. Only playing, we played 5 rounds. There's probably about 6 or 7 other golf courses right in that area that we would have loved to have featured. But we love doing these little travel series, and we like to do it in these spots too that I feel like aren't thought of enough. I mean, I don't think that area gets the attention that it should get for the amount of great golf that's there.
Yeah. I'm glad we were able to showcase it. And by the way, when I got back, a couple buddies were like, dude, you're a hero. How are you able to play golf every morning on a family vacation? I was like, we got this thing down to a science, man.
We were, we get that dawn patrol tee time. I think we were back
6:40 a.m. jump offs.
Done by 10 a.m. every day.
10:30. Especially when you play all shot. We're done. We were out of there by like 9:45, man.
Oh, that's how you play golf.
That's how you do it.
But Seaview, the 2 courses that were there, absolutely beautiful. They get the LPGA Tour comes through there every year. Twisted Dune, as you had mentioned. Scotland Run. I mean, how about that? They had a airplane like on the course. We took a little shot at it.
Yep.
So we had a lot of fun with that one. So that one is going to be out this week. If you're not already subscribed on YouTube, make sure you subscribe there. Follow us on Facebook Watch. You're going to have our videos are going to be, pretty much everywhere we can put them for you guys. And then with that too, we've got the Golficity Virtual Open is going to be wrapping up really soon. You still have time. Don't forget, it goes through the end of August. Go to golficity.com/open for all the details on how to register and play. You can play on your home course, and it's great. It's so much fun every year watching that leaderboard, and it's been moving all around these last couple of weeks. We got to play our round.
Yeah.
Now you guys can get out there and play.
You get a little taste of tour life, for like a day. And it's cool. I love getting off to a good start. You see like, hey, dude, I'm like 20th, I'm 10th, I'm 12th. And then all of a sudden you look at the end, you're like, I'm 185th. Whatever, it was fun.
Misses the cut in his own tournament.
Yep.
Luckily, there is no cut line. Okay. But we're just all out there to have some fun. So definitely check that out because you've got a few more days. Even if you're listening to this on August, the last day of August, you could literally register same day and go out and play your round and be in it. And then we've got some great door prizes. You just have to register and you got to post a round in order to be eligible for those door prizes.
We're anticipating 2,000 people, so you have a 1 out of 2,000 chance of winning. Pretty simple. I like those odds.
It's even better odds because you have multiple prizes. There you go. I think we've got 10 different prizes that we've got.
Yep.
So you guys got a lot of chances to win those. All right, let's do a quick word from our sponsor, and then we're going to bring Troy Merritt on the show. And speaking of which, we want to thank Titleist for sponsoring this episode. And guys, you've probably heard it. The waves, they're out there. The new Titleist T-Series irons. I mean, have you seen the look of these things, Mike?
So pretty.
So pretty. You just kind of get that. It catches a lot of hype when you see it on social media because everyone kind of like likes the look, but it's the performance that's really been wowing people. And like I said, last week we had a chance to talk to Russell Henley about it, but this week I really can't wait to dive in talking to Troy Merritt. He's made the switch. He's had some instant success with them. And they're clubs that not only they look good, but they play well. I mean, it's just, you can just tell that each time Titleist is taking what they've learned from the previous generation and just continually building upon it. We're getting tighter dispersions. We're getting better distance out of these things. It's just incredible. So the whole T-Series, and the other thing too is, don't forget, there's going to be something in there for everyone. You got the T 100, 200, and 300. And interestingly, we'll talk to Troy about this. You can mix your bag up a little bit.
Yeah, you're familiar with that.
I am familiar with that. I went with a combo of a T300, T200. We'll get what Troy has to say about his own mix, but you guys got to give these things a look. Go to Titleist.com. Check out the new T-Series irons, and if you get the opportunity to hit them, especially get fit, you're going to love these.
All right, guys, and I also want to thank Footjoy. Have you tried the Footjoy shoe finder yet, guys? Listen, if you haven't, stop what you're doing and go check it out. It's a lot of fun. I mean, you can put in all these things about who you are, what type of golfer you are, everything about your game, where you play, terrain, how many times a week, and they're going to spit out the style of shoe that's for you. Now, a lot of us may be new to the game. We may not know. Should I get spikes? Should I get spikeless? What's the difference? I see you guys wearing the Flexes. I see you wearing the Tour Max. I see you wearing the Premiers, the Hydro Flex. There's options. There's too many options. No, there's never too many options. You just have to find the right one that's for your game. So, guys, go to footjoy.com/shoefinder. Very simple. Go through the little quiz. You'll pass, I promise. It's a non-fail. I promise, a non-fail. And then find the shoe that's right for you. You'll be very pleased that you did so. And guys, you're going to love these new shoes that they are bringing out. We are loving them. You will too. Once again, footjoy.com/shoefinder. And also want to thank ShotScope. Recently, a couple weeks ago, we announced, Frank, the 6 winners of our ShotScope giveaway.
Yes.
We had a lot of fun doing that giveaway. We took a shot at the hardest pin location in New Jersey. We ended up giving away 6 different items from ShotScope, rangefinders and their GPS watches. And guys, if you're new to ShotScope, give them a look. Go to shotscope.com/Golficity. Anything from stat tracking watches, just to straight GPS watches, to rangefinders that are right in your wheelhouse. $200 for a rangefinder, $179 for the regular watch GPS, and $219 for the stat tracking watch. Guys, great prices. Shotscope.com/Golficity.
And before you know it, Mike, it's going to be the end of the year. We're going to do our year-end goals wrap up, and every year we like to break down our stats from ShotScope.
Without them, we don't have those stats.
Exactly. We get to look at everything. You wouldn't believe how detailed. Hundreds of statistics, all from just wearing this watch while you play. It does it all in the background. Guys, got to give it a look. Like Mike said, go to shotscope.com/Golficity. Check it out. All right, guys, let's bring Troy Merritt on the show now. All right, guys, so we're fortunate to have on the Golf Podcast 2-time PGA Tour winner Troy Merritt. Troy, welcome to the show.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you. And let's jump right into it, because one thing we talk about here often on the podcast is club fittings, what goes into that whole decision-making process. And obviously you've made a big change recently, upgrading to the new T-Series irons. But what I found interesting looking at your, what's in the bag is a little bit of a mixture, the T100 and T200 irons. So a little bit unique there. I wanted to get an idea, what went into that decision-making process for you?
Well, to be quite honest, I had set up with the Titleist boys to test them out at the Rocket Mortgage, and I had completely forgot about it. I went and played 9 holes early Tuesday morning, and then when we finished, I remembered that I was going to try the new ones out, and I loved them right away, especially the long irons, the 5-4-3-2 irons. They worked a lot better than what I'd previously been hitting. I was able to flat them down a little bit more. They didn't sound clunky like the older models. And performance-wise, they were fantastic on the driving range. But I only had 9 holes on Wednesday morning in the Pro-Am to kind of put them into the fire on the golf course to see what they were like. And didn't have any issues. So against my caddy's judgment and my coach's judgment, I threw them right into tournament play that week, and we almost won the tournament.
Yep.
Well, yeah, talk about like really instant validation. And I'd heard that it was just basically one range session and you were just kind of out there. Is that kind of the norm for you with equipment changes, or is it something that in prior iterations it's a little bit more drawn out, a little bit more time, kind of working with them on the range before you put them in play?
Yeah, it's I don't have any problem throwing something right into the fire right away. I know with a previous manufacturer that I was with, they had me test out a new set of irons. They wanted me to play them right away, and so I did. And the results were terrible, to be quite honest. I was hitting them right, left, had no idea where the ball was going. Come to find out that they had just given me a standard set of irons. They hadn't even built them to my specific specs and whatnot. So wow. I went back to the old ones. I said, until you guys figure out and get this ready and we sit down and actually build these things to my golf swing, there's no reason for me to be playing these. Well, with Titleist, that's not an issue. I mean, they came right out of the box, all specced out, ready to go. Very similar to the irons that I had been playing as far as look and feel and performance. And like I said, the biggest selling point for me was in the higher irons, 5, 4, 3, 2. I don't put them all into play given or every tournament round because, we only get 14 clubs and I've got 16 in the bag. So two of them have to be benched each week. But just loved them right away. Not a problem. You don't know what you have until you throw them into the fire anyway. So you might as well get them going for the round. See what happens. If it doesn't work out, you make a change. And if it works out, you look like a genius.
Yeah. Right. And speaking of feeling good out of the gate with those low irons, we got to talk about that hole in one. So we got a 5 iron, and I believe this was on Saturday, right? So I think you bogey the days before. Is that correct?
Yeah. Bogey Thursday and Friday with a 4 iron and a 5 iron. Two terrible shots.
They came back with that. What was it 200, about 20 yards, just a one hopper. What an amazing shot, man.
Yeah, 219, one hop right in. We couldn't quite figure out the wind. We decided on what it was most likely up above the trees, and I went with the hard 5 instead of a soft 4, and one hopped it right in the hole.
So was that just like the nail in the coffin validation of the new irons? Like, it's like, okay, there it is? Or what was the thinking?
It was several other shots besides that. And obviously, when they go in the hole, you can't do anything better. But right. Some of the layup shots earlier in the week with the long irons, being able to fly them, control them, and not having to worry about how is this thing going to respond or react into the wind here or this situation but that was the culmination of I think we made the right decision.
Yeah, Troy, speaking of clubs, and we've had numerous Vokey players on the show, and we're close as well with Aaron, and reached out to him before the show. He had nothing but awesome things to say about you and Wayne, your caddy. And I got to ask you, though, any special stampings that you do with Aaron, or is that something that's not on your radar?
I know some guys like to have some fun with that, that's for sure.
No, I especially with Wayne on the bag, I've asked Aaron for a few fun stamps. Wayne is He grew up an avid hunter. His family's got some land in South Alabama, so he loves to go and hunt deer down there. And he only gets 2 days a year now with the little one back at home and his wife, and they live in Dallas. So his 2 days of hunting, he got down to the last half hour. Finally, deer comes out, and he gets him in the crosshairs, pulls the trigger, and it goes click. And the deer runs off. He hadn't loaded the gun properly. So I had a wedge made up that said Mr. Click because Wayne likes to steal all my wedges after I'm done.
That's great.
I had another one made up that said can't shoot nothing. That one went to Wayne as well. I've had ones that say not Waynos on all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I just anything I can do to poke and prod a little bit. And Aaron's always very accommodating, best in the business. So and a great man in his own regards. It's very nice of him to talk nice about myself. Mainly because he probably doesn't know who I am. I'm not an equipment junkie. I mean, I only ask him for 2 sets of wedges a year, and
he said you're real chill. That's what he did. He's like Troy's pretty chill. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Well, I don't know any other way to be.
Yeah, there you go.
That is the way to be.
That is the way to be.
All right, so let's switch gears for a moment. Let's talk a little bit about the tour itself. Recently you had some really strong performances. Of course, we've been talking about the Rocket Mortgage Classic, 3M Open. That said, right now, as of when we're recording, we're just a couple weeks away from the playoffs. How are you feeling? How's your game feeling heading into the playoffs this year?
Yeah, I mean, my game through the bag has been fairly consistent, with the exception of the putter up until the end of April, early May, and finally the putter rolled around. And as a result, yeah, we had 4 top 10 finishes and 8 starts, and had that runner up at Rocket Mortgage, and got off to a blistering start at the 3M last week, and then went cold the last 3 days. But it's in a solid place. And I'm looking forward to the end of the year here with the FedEx Cup Playoffs coming on that bubble of getting into the BMW, that second event. We need to be in the top 70.
Mm-hmm.
Currently sitting at 67, so we're going to go play Barracuda next week, where I've had some heartbreaking finishes the last couple of years. So hopefully we can change the result this year. But no, I'm looking forward to it. It's my 10th year on the PGA Tour. I've never qualified for the Tour Championship, so I'd like to have a couple hot finishes here and qualify for that down in East Lake in Atlanta. Wayne, being from Atlanta, would have a huge pouring of support out there. So that's the goal. Keep playing well. Try to get that win next week in Barracuda. That's eluded us the last couple of years, and see what we can do in the playoffs.
There you go. And then Liberty National, I know you've had, a little bit of success there. You fired a 62 there in 2019. It's a bit of a unique track, though. So how well do you feel like it fits your game?
I had the chance to play it in a Softco outing here. That's where I got over here. Softco outing about 2 weeks after the President's Cup, when it was there a couple years ago. And immediately I said, this course is not for me. It just doesn't suit my eye very well. I don't really like the way it plays. So when we went there for the playoffs a couple of years ago, I wasn't expecting a whole lot. And lo and behold, we tied the course record the first round. 62. I don't know. And now I really like the place, to be quite honest. So I'm looking forward to getting back there, and not necessarily maybe shooting 62, but playing some good golf and locking up further starts in the playoffs.
It's interesting how a course record will change your mind about a place. That's for sure.
A couple good shots, a couple made putts, a lot of birdies. It changes your mind in a hurry.
Yeah. Exactly. And then another thing is kind of looking back a little bit. You've battled, a couple of health issues here and there. They had the surgery, you were out for a little bit. How have those experiences kind of changed your approach? Has it changed your kind of approach to your career in any way? Is there anything that's kind of long-term for that?
No, I wouldn't say so. Having played sports my whole life, I kind of know the difference between playing hurt and playing injured. I've actually played hurt here since the U.S. Open. I've had to wear I feel like an old man. I've had to wear a knee brace since the Friday of the U.S. Open. Could barely walk that Wednesday. And playing Torrey on one leg, I mean, I know Tiger did it in one. I felt pretty good about just making the cut on one leg, and been dealing with a little bit of a lingering issue there all summer. But no, I think just growing up, always playing when you're never 100%, what your body can handle, what it can't. I mean, right now, I had a little accident the other day. I kind of tore some skin off the palm of my hand, so I'm hoping that heals before next week. But, pain is pain. I mean, everybody knows how to manage it. Some manage it better than others. Obviously, playing with a large blood clot in the chest and the arm, I wouldn't recommend. But having the rib out and having to actually rehab that and strengthen that's been the biggest injury. Having to sit out 7-8 weeks and actually rehab something was different. I mean, I played the PGA Championship 5 days after I had that blood clot removed. I mean, it really hurt, but I was able to still manage the pain and play. But having that rib out, whole new ballgame. You gotta take some time off for that one.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Yeah, and Troy, speaking of taking time off, this is Olympic week. This is a rare time off for the tour. I mean, is this just kick your feet up and chill week, or are you out there?
I have not played since Sunday the 3M. I actually, a couple weeks ago, got called for jury duty during the John Deere. I asked for it to be postponed to this week, knowing that I would not be playing golf this week. My number ended up not getting called, but I was on the hook for jury duty this week. So I've had a pretty relaxing week.
Yeah, I know. This interview almost didn't happen because of jury duty, so we're glad they didn't call you. Yep. But so speaking of the tour, I mean, you've got 2 PGA Tour wins under your belt. You talked about some that have gotten away from you, like the Barracuda. What goals have you set for yourself going forward? Are there any personal boxes that you still like to check off?
I want to try to win every year, and I know everybody says that, and it's really, really hard to do on the PGA Tour. I give myself 2 or 3 solid chances a year. Whether you can walk through the door and get the win, I've only done it twice, but there's a lot of great players out there that haven't been able to manage it, and that just shows how hard it is to win on tour, how deep the fields are every week. Even next week at the Barracuda, I mean, you've got a solid field again. It's an opposite field event. People aren't going to pay attention to it as much, but you've got guys that are still the best in the world at what they do, and they're fighting to keep their cards. They've got their backs against the wall, and you can guarantee that all 132 guys, 120 guys, whatever it is, are going to go out there and give you their absolute best next week. And the winner next week is going to be a very deserving champion. I hope it's us, but we've got a lot of other guys to beat. It's a fun system next week. I tell you what, that Stableford system, the modified scoring, is a lot of fun. It's nice to throw a little wrench into the doldrums of the summer when it comes to golf on the PGA Tour. But no, I'm excited for next week. I want to give ourselves another chance to win. We've walked through that door twice, but we've been beaten more often than not. So we got to change that a little bit. Yeah,
well, definitely good luck there. And before we let you go, Troy, there's a question we love asking tour players when they come on the show. It's, we got a lot of young listeners and a lot of fathers mainly who are raising kids and trying to get them in the game, and these kids are trying to get to that level. What would be your one bit of advice for those guys or gals that are looking to make it on tour?
Yeah, I was lucky that my parents were school teachers growing up, and my dad was picking up the game when I was real young, and he would take me out to the golf course with him, every day. He never forced me to go. He never told me I had to go practice or I had to go play. I just loved doing it. He just facilitated the opportunity to be able to go and play. What I would say, and what I try to do with my boys, because they think they want to be professional golfers, I'm trying to get them to be more recreational and enjoy other aspects of their life, but is not to force it. If your kid loves something and gets really good at something, then maybe start, looking to take it to the next level. I mean, I didn't have my first playing lesson or teaching lesson until I was 27. I was on the PGA Tour already for, a couple of years. So it's just, and everybody's different. I mean, you got to figure out what works best for you. Got to figure out which way you can get the job done. And do it that way. You don't have to listen to everybody telling you what to do because they don't know you. You know you. So that's the biggest thing. Don't force it. Have fun. If they get good, help facilitate. But yeah, just let them enjoy it. I mean, it's a game. It should be enjoyed for your whole life. Don't burn them out. Don't make them hate the game. And just enjoy it with each other.
Yeah, that's great.
Because there is so much pressure, and sometimes in youth golf when they're trying to make it that level to get to burn out. But Troy, do you get to bring your boys out there on the course with you much?
They usually don't travel. This last little stretch, they did come out and watch at the John Deere. I've got family in the area. They did come out to the 3M and watch. I've got family in the area. I haven't gone to high school there. My oldest absolutely loves going to watch. He's 10 now. He's a little Energizer bunny. I mean, you can't get him to stop from sun up to sundown. So he has no problem on the course. My 7-year-old, he's good for about 9 holes, maybe a little bit more from time to time. But they love being out there. I love to see their faces out there. They're little sponges. They're watching everything you do. So it's just a good reminder to always conduct yourself in a professional manner and know that your boys are watching you.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Another reason to be a professional out there. You're a dad. Yeah. So anyway, listen, Troy, appreciate you taking the time. Wish you the best of luck, at the Barracuda. And also, like we said earlier, that other goal of achieving, of making it to East Lake. Hopefully, strong showing at the at Liberty National again, kind of propel you forward that way. We know we'll be rooting for you, but we appreciate you taking the time to come here. Talk to us a little bit about the game, about your equipment. We've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, guys, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
All right, so that was cool. A little bit different. And I think this is so cool. We get those one back-to-back. Talking to Russell Henley last week, talking to Troy Merritt this week. Both guys who've had a lot of success on tour. Both guys with different approaches to their equipment. And here too, you get to see how they mix their bag up and what works for different guys. And again, I was just very interested to hear some of that decision-making process of going with the T-Series, that mix of the T100 and T200. Because I did a similar thing with my bag. I hadn't even crossed my mind to mix an iron set until we went through a fitting with Kevin Sprecher.
Right. Why would you think of that?
Guided us. Because, years ago, I used to always just buy equipment off the rack and I would just buy the full set. And I think it's one of those things to fittings that sometimes we overlook. I mean, sure, at the PGA Tour level, maybe not. You could think those guys are dialing it in club by club or whatever it may be. But even for us, to go into a fitting and then know, hey, you can mix your bag up a little bit. You want a little bit more forgiveness in those long irons, you can dip up into the T200, T300s.
Mm-hmm.
You want a little bit more of that ball shaping ability, T100. So it's an interesting concept that, I'll be honest with you, it just hadn't crossed my mind until we started to really dive in and understand fittings.
Yeah, same, absolutely. And I know our fitting is going to be this week as we're recording this. Next week, right?
Yeah, as we're recording this, we're going
next fitting, and I'm curious to see if I end up in a mixed bag.
No doubt. I mean, it's an exciting thing, and there's other stuff too. We could get into a long discussion of utility irons and things like that. But just the good news is, and the good news that keeps coming back to this, for us as players and as golfers to have as many options as possible. The more options, the more tools that a fitter has to put you into something that's right for you, because everybody is different. Everybody's swing is different, and then the proof of that is just seeing the diversity, even at the highest level on the PGA Tour, of guys in the different ways that they mix their bag up. That just kind of shows you that it really is an individual kind of thing.
Yeah.
So getting fit is going to be what it really comes down to. But again, big thanks to Troy Merritt for joining us on the show this week. Let us know, guys, what do you think of this? I mean, we've had a couple of PGA Tour players on the show. Do you like this format? Do you want to see more players? There's some players that you want to hear from maybe on the show here. Let us know. Drop a comment below. Mention in our Facebook group. You can DM us directly as well if you want to contact us privately at Golficity. And let us know, because we'd like to see if we can get some more of the guys that you guys want to hear from here on the show. But another fun interview today. That's everything we have for you. You can get to the show notes by going to golficity.com/episode 389, or as always in the Golficity app, which is free for iOS and Android. You can get all of our episodes there. We'll see everybody again next week.